Tonight is the HMTC Poetry Night. And as we informed most of you, is that all the proceeds, we're not keeping a single dollar, all the proceeds will go to the Kings County Historical Society to maintain this beautiful building that was built in 1876. And this is the mission of KCHS, to preserve this building. And as you can see, we converted it into a theater. We've done some plays here, where this is our first poetry night. And this section here is turned into a theater. All the curtains and the lights are on the scaffolds. And in fact, the curtains back here are connected to each other with, you know, those clamps that you buy at Lowe's. In fact, we bought like hundreds of them from Lowe's. And also the screens, we have a screen there and a screen here and a screen behind me, and they're connected with zip ties. So we probably should be called the Clamp and Zip Tie Theater Company. But instead, we are Hanford Multicultural Theater Company. Tonight, we have the poetry divided into 4 sections. The first is called Fields of Poetry, and the poetry is written and read by Maricela Mares-Alatorre. And then we'll have Sarah McCullough, which follows her poetry section, which is called Heartfelt Journeys. My poetry section is called Lost in a Drawer. You can probably imagine why. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Silvia Gonzalez S. That's my stage name. And I've been writing poetry since I was living in Chicago, and all this poetry, most of it, is from when I was living in Chicago. The 4th section of our poetry event is called Open Mic. So we'll have a short break, and for your comfort, we have free cookies, free water in that front lobby there. And the restrooms, if you follow the ramp all the way out, go to the back of the second building, you'll see a men's and women's. Now there is a storage room with a little outhouse. It's not that. It's the one that actually is a modern, well, I would say 50s looking bathroom. Men, watch your aim, because the lights don't work very well for you. Well, I gotta let you know. Okay, so are we ready? All right, I'm going to introduce Maricela Mares-Alatorre, and where is she? Oh, there she is, right there. Sorry, the lights blind me. So anyway, okay, let's give her a big hand, everyone.
Good evening, I'm Maricela, and I'm going to read my first poem. It's called My Pin. I keep my favorite pin in my mind, and that's convenient because I don't lose it that way. My pin, not my mind. It writes in many colors, sometimes light and serious, other times dark and happy, but it scares me to think that someday my pen might run out of... I'm clapping for myself, sorry. My second poem is called I Love, Hate You. They say you only hate what you truly love. At least that's how the song goes. Well, if that's true, I'd have to say, man, do I love you. Okay, my next poem is called Celestial Beings. I feel like I'm at a point where all the stars have aligned to bring me here, and I feel the spirits of my mother and my grandmothers to guide me. I also have a bright star, that's my daughter, trailing behind me like a comet, my star girl. Celestial Beings. Even the brightest star can be dimmed by cloud cover. My grandmother's star never shone very bright. It was dimmed as the little girl of an abusive monster, further extinguished by my grandfather, who only knew how to love clumsily. My other grandmother led an equally hard life. only in her, it caused her star to burn. It caused her star to burn so bright she became the sun. Her illumination burned so bright that it became something bitter and cruel. It burnt everything around her, including her children. My mother's light revolved around my dad. She was the moon and he was a cold, rigid planet. When he failed, she fell out of orbit. Unable to rise, unable to shine, without his gravitational pull, she faded. I thought I could gravitate a planet as well, but the planet I chose was sick and erratic. At times, my light almost extinguished. I lost my way, but not my glow. I learned that cloud cover eventually moves. My daughter is a wish on a star, a celestial being that shines luminous, brighter than anything in the sky. I don't want her to orbit a planet. My hope is that she finds a star, a twin star to guide with her through darkness, a companion through nebulas and galaxies that glows equally bright, but sometimes lets her glimmer sharper, for she is the product of all the stars that came before, the ones that shined, the ones that dimmed, even the ones that burned, all a part of her celestial being, my star girl. My next poem is something I wrote after I read a story about a young shepherd boy who was shot because he was herding his flock too close to the border. And they accused him of trying to cross illegally into the United States. I would never presume to say that I have the solution for the crisis at the border. However, I do know that as long as there are no repercussions for the employers that hire undocumented people, there will always be a revolving door. For Ezequiel. See their lives in their eyes, how they run towards the sun, from the hermanos wearing green. It's obscene. Chasing gente, shooting boys to protect or destroy, over the border, through the fence. It's an invasion of the nation. So they chase them. So they chase them through the fields, towards the sun, make them work while they run. And when they're done, send them home through the fence with the revolving door. My next poem is called The Game. I was the first person in my family to graduate from high school, to go to college. Now I'm stuck to my sweater, sorry. To go to college, to work a job in an office. So I got to a point where I felt like I was forgetting a little bit where I came from. So I wrote this poem, The Game. I play the game, you know the name, my secret life, white collar shame. If I'm swathed in corporate gray, does that take the brown away? What was once my battle call bounces off my cubicle. My tacos once came wrapped in foil, flavored with the heat of a long day's toil. Now they come in styrofoam with little salsa packets, sterile and cold. Even my name couldn't stay the same. For business sake, it had to change. I worked so hard to leave the fields that I forgot how leaving them really feels. To put up the asadón after a long, hard day, to say that in life you've made your way. By sweat of brow and blister of hand, to work the earth on which we stand. Tomorrow I think I'll wake at dawn and stumble out with work clothes on, to take great gulping breaths of air, tinged with the smell of damp brown earth. I'll take this dust between my hands until my soul remembers and understands that though I work to leave the fields, I've not forgot how brown skin feels. I lived in Kettleman City for 45 years. I think even many people in the county don't know that Kettleman City is home to the largest toxic waste landfill west of the Mississippi. I wrote this poem in the early 90s, and unfortunately it turned out to be alarmingly prophetic. In the mid-2000s, in a one-year period, 13 children were born with birth defects, including 5 with cleft palate. The normal rate of cleft palate is 1 in 1,000 births. 3 of those babies, Ashley, America, and Nehemiah, passed away. Studies were done that tested the air, the water, and the soil after the fact. No biomonitoring was ever done, so this poem is dedicated to my gente in Kettleman City. 1 in a million. Others said, don't put it here, not in my backyard, dump it in the desert. But we only said, buenas tardes. So they came in and scratched themselves a home in our backyard. We hardly noticed at first. Our lives were busy, following the growing seasons. Apricots, peaches, plums, cotton, tomatoes, almonds, pistachios, and so on. Sometimes they even gave us presents, like the swing set for our school, a school their children didn't go to. Occasionally, in the hot San Joaquin Valley afternoons, the smell of their poisons drifted down on us as we worked through the fields. It was quickly replaced by the smell of the poisons dropped on us by the crop dusters that flew overhead. Then we started reading. The report said only 1 in a million would be affected. I guess they didn't know. So many people in our town were 1 in a million. We started to get frightened. They said, it's just our ignorance, which didn't allow us to understand technology. They said they knew how to take care of us. They cursed the San Francisco organizers that stirred us up. We went to meetings where they jeered at us, accused us of being greedy, said, if you speak Spanish, which we did, we belonged in the back of the room. They blamed us for being poor, for working in the fields, for living in a contaminated town, for being. So the other day, I saw one of the suits that let them into our town, a town he didn't live in, and I offered him an apple. Here, mister, here's an apple, fresh from the tree in my backyard. Oh, and don't worry, there's only 1 in a million chance that it might be contaminated. My last poem is called The Memo. When I was a little girl, I was always really embarrassed when my dad would blast the Mexican music on his way to drop me off at school. These days, I'm not ashamed anymore, but I am a little scared sometimes. The memo. Racism doesn't exist anymore. Didn't you get the memo? Why is it always somebody blue-eyed that tells me this? In the car, I play Selena, but not too loud. I don't want them to think that I'm Mexican, or God forbid, that I can't speak English. I was born in East LA. No, really. My mother was born in Hanford, my grandmother was born in Fresno, my great-grandmother came from Texas. It's a litany I repeat to protect myself from the question, but where are you really from? Really, really. I believe that all people are equal, but that doesn't make me colorblind. And that's okay. It's okay to see in colors. It's okay to appreciate the vibrant hues of humanity. My own family runs a spectrum of colors, from the darkest brown to the whitest white, from the I don't speak Spanish variety to the ¿Qué chingados dijo? And the census, olvídate. We've got 4 different identities going on. Mexicano, American, Mexican-American, and Chicana. And it's all good, because the people that don't like us only see us in one flavor anyway, foreign. So for today, I'll try to blast como la flor, just a little bit louder. And I'll try and be brave and ignore silent looks that scream, go back to where I came from. Because, as the memo said, racism doesn't exist anymore.
Thank you, Maricela. Thank you so much. Very explosive poetry. Thank you. You're going to have some more explosive poetry. We would like to invite Sarah McCullough to the microphone. And just wait till you hear her material.
Play guitar.
I wish I could. I don't know how. I can play the flute, though. Hi, everyone. I am Sarah McCullough. Thank you all so much for being here today. For those of you that know me on a more personal level, I want y'all to understand that y'all are about to hear some things that have happened to me that you might not have expected. So, for my first poem, it's called I Saw You There. I lost my mother in March of 2017. She passed away suddenly from a pulmonary embolism. And whenever I'm walking around, sometimes I swear I can still see her. I feel like this is something that most people can relate to. I saw you there. I saw you today, walking along the sidewalk. I had to look again. I almost slammed to a stop. I saw you at the store, but when I turned around, you were no more. I went for a hike last week. Could have sworn I saw you at the peak, but as I raced to the top, I felt my heart drop. I saw you putting fruit into a basket, and then I remembered you in your casket. And though you left me suddenly, I feel you everywhere, so motherly. Carrying guilt deep in my heart, I wasn't there from the start. You follow me through the wind and trees, and reach for me when I fall on bended knees. My next poem is called One Day. In this world, it seems like everybody has to be constantly entertained. It is my hope to find someone who can just sit in silence and enjoy the moment. One day. Can you sit here with me? Just for a minute? Can you sit here in silence? Just be with me. Don't speak, don't pull out your phone. Just be in the moment. That's all I want. For you to be here with me, right now. No expectations, appointments, desires, wants, needs, just this 1 minute. Can you stay still? Don't move. Don't flinch. Don't try to fill your time or your mind or your soul or your head or your heart. Just be with me. If not, you can go. Do what you have to do. Explore the world. Meet many different people. But if you cannot sit for a moment of silence with me, then go. For I do not have the time. I do not have the emotional capacity for you to disappear. I won't do it again. My time is too precious. My heart too vulnerable. My head too fractured to invest in someone who cannot see me for me, who does not see my worth, who cannot feel my love, who doesn't want me for me. If you cannot sit for a moment, then go. For one day, I'll find that person who will spend 1,000 moments loving me as I am, There'll be no questions, no other options. Just me. There will always be somebody who's prettier than me, better than me, but if I am yours and you are mine, then none of that matters. When I find you, it'll be the right time. My heart breaks for every broken relationship. My time slowly taken away, second by second, wasted. I give my heart, my body, my soul to people who do not deserve me, people who cannot see me for me, people who cannot sit in silence for more than a second, and it breaks me each time. I hold on to the hope that I will find you, that you will be worth 1,000 heartbreaks and broken promises. One day I'll see you, and it'll all be clear. My next poem is called My First. This is a hard one for me. It is a secret that I carried for most of my life. And I didn't realize what had happened to me until I was in my late 20s. My first. Young in body, but old in mind. You told me age was nothing but the passage of time. Secret texts sent back and forth, code words and phrases that proved it was us. I was 14, and you? 32. I didn't see yet how I was groomed. The long braids on the sides of your neck, the way your goatee tickled when we kissed. Hidden drives on back roads, my parents oblivious to your hold. As time progressed, I saw you less and less. Distracting myself with boys my own age, I kept a piece of my heart locked in a cage. At 19, I received a call. You'd been shot. I felt my world fall. I cried for hours. It took me years to see you as you were, the vilest coward. You're gone from this world. If you knew of your hold, the piece of me that was locked in a cage beat against the bars in rage. I tried to drown the pain away, alcohol and hookups to keep the memories at bay. My caged heart has finally died, reborn again as a phoenix from fire. Self-love and growth is all I desire. I gotta take a drink of water, sorry. My next poem is called Moment. At one point, I thought that I found the person that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I was wrong. And this is a poem about falling out of love. Moment. There was a moment in time. I loved you fiercely. You had but to ask, and I would have climbed to the top of the tallest mountains, swam to the deepest part of the sea. There was a moment when my love burned. I was a forge of fire. Diamonds would have melted in my presence like ice. There was a moment when I was yours. You could have held me. I'd have been sweet as a newborn, trusting and naive. But that moment has passed. All that remains of that love is charred walls and unexplored halls. The scent of smoke long since gone. The ash of the coals that burned so bright, scattered through the wind, out of sight. You tore down my walls and left me empty. We could have been more. This hollow thing before you has changed. I've never been the same. I'll never regret that moment. For as long as I live, I have not felt it since you left. Even a forge must burn out. Undiscovered places must stay that way. But until my last day, there was a moment Indifference is my next poem. I wrote this poem as a sign of healing and letting go, realizing that when you give too much in a relationship, it's time to let go. Indifference. Your indifference to me has become mine to you. When I begged, pleaded, and screamed, you stared at your screen. My heart poured love like a steady stream, while yours was barren, it would seem. Love, loyalty, and honesty was all that I asked. You accused me of being a pain in the ass. The harder I tried to clean, had you rushing off to another fling. While I tried to keep your burdens light, you were busy swiping left and right. I have moved on, found peace within. Your troubles and heartbreaks no longer concern. It's finally over. Your turn. The karma of my past misdeeds was fulfilled with our first coffee. My future is filled with intense lights. Don't forget your shades. It's gonna be bright. My final poem is called The Victim. I wrote this poem after Vanessa Guillen was found murdered. I wrote this poem from her murderer's perspective. The victim. I am a man. It is my right to say. All I did was look. You could have just stayed. I didn't hurt you. This isn't fair. Now all you can do is stare. I just wanted to touch. Isn't that fair? You made a big deal. Now you're out of air. They look for you down by the stream. I pray they don't find you. This has to be a dream. I have a career. I have a life. It's not my fault. You decided to fight.
That last poem gets me all the time. All right, I'm your third poet for the evening, and then we will have a break afterwards and then bring on the other poets. So after I do my poetry, we take a little quick break, bathrooms over there, little snacks and water back there. Those people come to me and I'm gonna write your name and put you on a list, all right? Okay. This poem is called The Boy at the Border. I think we got a theme going around here. All right. It's called The Boy at the Border. The boy at the border, cheerful, waving his legs about, suspended on crutches, extends his hands. He smiles, grateful for some change. He smiles, he knows they pity, and he receives instantly in the palm of his tan hand. What a perfect place, I say to myself, watching cars go back to the USA. Not dare pass him without giving him spare change. He's there all day, gathering so much cash as people travel back to the American homeland. He's the exit sign before you leave, before returning from reality. He's the poster boy from the land of nothing to signal you that sightseeing is now over. A child in crutches, smiling with legs fleeing about. I roll my window down, also trapped in the pity, the sadness I already know. He smiles and flies to receive my coined sorrow. Then the words utter from this shameless voice of mine, learned from my father. What is wrong with you? My Spanish suddenly impeccable. My curiosity damned by the person next to me. Estoy paralítico, he smiles, extending his excited hand. I feel it purposefully and think, of course, having seen his limp legs behind him and realizing I didn't need to ask. I nod at his courage, wishing I had more change. He speeds in lightning, crutch pace to the car behind me, driver extending a coin-filled hand, full of sorrow, full of gentle, sympathetic pity. For a little boy they'll remember no more when they pass the border town of remorse. My next poem is called Los Angeles Olympic Auditorium. I grew up in the LA area, so lucha libres and roller derby was a big thing. In fact, I did want to be a roller derby queen. I really did. That was my goal. Except my 7th grade junior high teacher told me, no, you're not. I said, okay, I won't be a roller derby queen, but I really secretly want to. Mil Máscaras, the man with the mask, the body of the bull, brown, brown, like mine so brown, exposed his hefty legs and arms, hairless chest, slick with sweat, was the hero of the wrestling mat at the Olympic Auditorium in LA. It was the place where roller derby also played, the mighty ladies, thunderbirds that shared the space. Sally Vega, a skating Latina I had as a role model. Maybe I couldn't be a wrestler like my friend's mother, Fierce Fonseca. No, I was too skinny. Maybe I can try to be a roller skating queen. On alternate nights, Mil Máscaras was the star. Sally Vega on skates against the Kansas City Bombers. Both wore a uniform that made us proud as we watched the two get the shit beat out of them. Mil Máscaras was kind. Sally Vega, tough as they come. They showed me how I was like them. Brown, proud, always fighting back, and ending up on the ground. Okay, this one is called Monster in My Chest. And after I read it here, like for rehearsal, I realized what was happening to me, and I will tell you at the end of it. It's called Monster in My Chest. I stand here before you doing what I do best, doing absolutely nothing. Maybe I'll go rest. Then there's this feeling, something uncomfortable yet expected. The pain comes from here. I look down, and the explosion rips my chest. Arms start to extend from my heart, waving in front of my face. The horror of it when it begins to wrap around my neck. Its aim is to devoid me of air, to force the trachea to close and shut down. Only my silence will it bear. Arms so cruel, yet I know what they mean. Grasping and coiling around my neck, almost devouring my head, screaming silences, cursing me thickly, accusing me of giving in. The pounding of my heart makes me want to grasp for air, forcing me to stop the evil arms that claws at my fears. The arms are black with blood, shades of blue. Arteries and veins also protrude. The nails are yellow with a smear of orange, taking hold of my tiny throat in hopes of my expiring. At that moment, I allow it to squeeze to its content. I scream, go ahead and kill me. I already have lived in dread. Take while you can and don't be quick. I want to die suffering so I know I have lived. Then the pressure at the thumbs release. The tension decrease. Moisture is felt and the monster softens its grip. I finally open my eyes and see these grotesque hands withdraw, swinging and whipping before me, dripping with blood. The arms shrink and take on a healthier color, then dive into my chest between the 3rd and 4th rib. The feeling of malcontent remains in my chest. The feeling of suffocation also persists. Even now as I stand before you, I know that this feeling will come again. The monster in my chest that split open my breasts also sits in your heart to drive you mad, to infest. Okay, so it occurred to me many years after I wrote this that I was having a panic attack. All right, my next poem is called I Called You. I called you and heard only the annoying sounds of an empty phone, ringing beyond reason, ringing in emptiness. I hang up and make up my mind to try again later, which brings my spirits up, and I think I'll catch you the next time. I go and wash my face, removing the black from my eyelids, the red from my lips, the purple from my blood. I dry pores with curls of thread, wishing it was your hair. Later comes with a sudden feeling. I penetrate my thoughts with the sound of your voice. I push the precious numbers leading to your heart, caressing my face with the phone. And hear the ringing of an empty apartment, ringing echoes of hollow walls, ringing vibrations of sounds, finding no response, no attentiveness to my pathetic, sorry heart. I go to my pillow, squeezed between tight sheets, hearing the whisper of my own voice repeating, "He's not home again." Okay, this poem is called Told Her, and I actually wrote about an individual that I actually met. And it's called Told Her. Her father told her to bring his shoes. She did. Her father told her to get him a beer. She did. Her father told her to get him some food. She did. Her father told her who to date. She did. Her father told her to miss the prom. She did. Her father told her to forget school. She did. Her father told her who to marry. She did. Her father told her to have many children. She did. Her father told her to get his shoes. She did. Her husband told her to get him a beer. She did. Her husband told her to get his food. She did. Her husband told her to make the children's bed. She did. Her husband told her to get him his shoes. She did. Her husband told her to... The warden told her to close the cell door. She did. Okay, so you're going to see a picture of an 11-year-old girl real soon. Her name is Isabella. There she is. I was asked by my publisher to work with this girl. They compiled a book of kids, I think like ages 10 to 14, about their impressions of the last 2 years in our country. And Isabella, her name is Isabella Marie Lucas. I mentored her on this particular poem, and I'm just going to read her words. And I'm going to read it in the style of Chicago, where I did my original poetry. I'm going to read it in that style. Okay? At the speed of light, I was affected by a wave of outrage, a wave that pulled me under, a single discomforting stare. It penetrated me like a dagger. which stayed on like a sting that will forever harm me at indiscriminate moments, which instead should be flooded with happy memories. A distressful, lingering anguish that will forever haunt me, drag me down, cause shame for being who I am. Now an ever-present anxiety, challenging my identity, making me question myself and my culture, teaching me to distress. While I was happy with my family, enjoying lunch together, a first time after restrictions lessened from the horrible spread of COVID-19, eating fries and having a shake like a normal kid. Then that judgmental look in my direction from two bored middle-aged women, whispering, staring, and insulting my family's culture. This was not an incident to compliment shiny brown hair or eyes, but designed to humiliate me, degrade me, punish who I am. Their faces forever chasing my identity, their venom guilting me for what I cannot change. I fled the restaurant feeling discouraged and scared. My life changed forever. The torture of racism now in my consciousness. I cried from the discovery of how people can cause harm on purpose. My family, noticing my distress, tried to comfort me, cover me with love, remove the venom of deep pain, a deep pain that they sadly already know. They have always tried to shelter me from all signs of racism, a racism they hoped I would never have to experience. Unfortunately, I did. After this painful event that made me grow up quickly, a big storm clouded over our world. A video emerged and the world changed. Racism was the topic in social media, on TV, and on the streets. The death of George Floyd, a husband, father, and friend, who did not deserve to die in the street. He said, "I can't breathe." Officers are supposed to help. This is police brutality. This could have been my father, who is dark complected. I realize at this moment, anyone who is different is not safe. Protests began demanding justice. It took some time, and courts agreed. My family and I cheered. We want peace and equality. It appeared that the world took a pause from the toxicity. Then my heart broke again. A new video, shocking and disgusting. A man punching an old, frail Asian woman. He said she started the pandemic. I say the pandemic didn't start discrimination. This world can be cruel and horrible and senseless and disgusting, but it doesn't have to be that way. There is love in the community. I saw many join hands with those who have been hurt. I saw some healing. I saw some hope. I say, erase from society selfishness and ignorance. Erase superiority passed down for generations. Do not allow ignorance to be permanent. Allow education, advocacy, and love to prevail. Accept one another and stand strong. When there is injustice, you must love yourself. Nothing will change until you do that first. Thank you. From an 11-year-old girl, and it is published in a book called This Is Our Story. So if you're interested in finding out about that book, I'll be happy to give you the information. Okay, so now we're taking a break. We have our lovely poets here, and those of you who are interested in reading, come to me when you got a minute, but go to the bathroom first, and then go get your water and all that, and we will break for a brief 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so are you on this list? Oh, sorry. All right, you guys thirsty? You want to drink it? Anything? Yeah.
No, but we're gonna
You should join us.
Excuse me, sir, can you take a picture of me in here? Yes, sir, thank you very much. I was gonna get
go outside with Daddy and get a cookie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. This is fun. Okay. All right. So we got it.
I changed. I saw you, then I saw Donnie. This.
Izquierda. Can I say it in Spanish? Izquierda, because izquierda. Okay, that's all. Izquierda. Okay, so we got Claudia, Anisha McDowell. Got your info, so thank you. And then, so we got, and then Tino Rayo is supposed to come.
Where do you want to go?
That's fine.
You want to go on stage?
Yeah, just
What do you want to say up there?
yeah, we're free. We're doing good. We're doing good.
You want to go on the stage?
You want to come on stage? Come on. You are a future poet. Come on. Come on. Here, little kids and stuff like this. What's your name? Ah. Are you going to grow up and be a poet?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you want to write some poetry?
Yeah.
Okay, when you do, you want to bring it to us and then we can let you read it? Okay, wonderful. We'll see you in June. Hey! I personally don't mind little kids because they're going to grow up and want to do this. They definitely will. Okay, so here we go. The mic is here. There's water for you if you're thirsty. You can put your script here. You can hold it. And if you feel so inclined, you can walk with the mic. That is allowable too. Just don't drop it. All right. Okay, so we're going to start out with Claudia. Claudia, you're a little short. I'll bring this down a little bit. Claudia, she said, call her Claudia Little Shakespeare. Let's have her come up and read her poems. Oh, I almost got that right.
Okay. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You don't need to see me, right? Ooh, I've got my own light too.
Oh,
All right, first of all, my name is Claudia. I'm seeing a few familiar faces. And I became a poet after my brain surgery. I had a brain surgery May 25th, 2001 at San Francisco. And then I died after 8 hours of brain surgery. And God said, oh, you're not done. So he kicked me back here to earth. And ever since then, I was inspired to write poetry through my college year. And I didn't know what was writing. I just keep on hearing poetry and conversation, so I started writing them. Before I knew I had enough poems, so 2013, I published my first poetry book, We Live and Learn, because I was learning to be a mom and a dad, a student, and experienced college. So I said, what other way but we live and learn, because we never stop learning, correct?
Correct.
And 2013, after that came about, I actually wrote that to have something for my son when I pass away. I didn't want it to expect it, or I didn't expect it to spread like fire. Before you know it, I had marketing to, they wanted to display my book and, you know, all this money I need to throw, but where am I gonna get the money? So finally I said, you know what, I'm the boss. So I'll tell you when I want and what I want, when I need it. Because I said, I'm not gonna put money that I don't have. So I let that one by. So completing my college cross country at West Hills, I moved here. And here, 2019, I published my second book, Cosmic Lovers. And my experience here was more spiritual. I was wakened by angels, choirs, singing, feathers, and coins on my bed. I couldn't make up anything. Why? I mean, and then I always listened to music from my work to Starbucks, where I wrote everything. So I was walking, it was kind of windy, and I was walking because my headphone piece stopped. So as soon as I removed it, a branch fell in front of me. So I felt that it was an angel saying, hey, it's not your time. Take it, you know, listen, this branch, cars move around it, and just making sure I was okay. So everything started opening up from there. I was smelling things that my coworkers want. They say, stay away from Starbucks. I go, it's not the Starbucks. So I would feel chills. A lot of spiritual things happened. So that came about to where I accepted my new skin spiritually. And with that, my aura on a picture that I took was purple. Even through the aura readings, it was purple. So I wrote Cosmic Lovers. That one is about feathers, angels, God, and just other level of beliefs. Because I didn't want it to be religious, because it's not, it's your beliefs. So I called it Cosmic Lovers. So last year, 2020, my mother passed away, Christmas Eve. Bury mom on the 6th of January of last year. 2 days later, my father passes away. August 31st of last year, I found my fiance dead in my bed. So I'm like, okay, what else is there for me to go through? But my writing and writing poetry has helped me get through it. And of course, God been holding me up through my job to still work. And my writing is my therapist, along with God, angels. So the first poem is about my fiance. He was Yaqui native who was trying to put his document to be registered. I wrote the first poem about him. It's called Wandering Feather, because he knew he was native, but he didn't know exactly where, because he didn't fit anywhere. So shortly after he passed away, I wrote this poem. It's called Little Red Indian. To express how I feel, words fall very short. Red little Indian soul, it was your high spirit. It was set on high mode. To others, it was no secret. It was easy to see your mood. To some was misunderstood. You lived, you laughed, you cried, you true loved, helped as long as you could. Your smile and your words echoes through this world. a feather, and a sign I see to let me know you're with me. When my time comes, hope it's you I can see, for now I cope. Not to see you, but I truly feel you. Allow those native drums play their amazing sounds. From earth to the spirit realm, peace in you I already found. And you're different from them. That's Little Red Indian Boy. Following that, this poem I wrote this beginning of this year, Painful Years. And what I did, I combined mom's, dad's, and his together in one poem. Painful years. Once upon a time, I was an unhappy woman because I don't have them. I don't smile as I used to. My red heart became blue. The soul pain is so true. The year 2020, COVID-19 took my dearest mother. I write poetry in their loving memory. Through a glass door, I saw my father. Sorry. Sad eyes, signing me. He was hungry. A vicious virus took them together. The year 2021, January the 6th, we buried my mother. Her smile I carry in my heart. Seeing her closing her eyes, torn my heart and soul apart. In my head, I hear her voice, her laughter I truly miss. January the 8th, my father passed away. Thursday and Friday are their days. August 31st, on the same year, I say, took someone else close to me, to a love I couldn't say goodbye. For their soul to be in peace, I pray. That's painful year. Thank you. The next one is Daddy's Girl Goodbye. I was real close with my father. I was more like his tongue girl. I used to work irrigate with him in the fields. My brother, I was raised with 5 brothers, so you can imagine. But I didn't let them beat me in any way. So, Daddy's girl's goodbye. A daughter's goodbye has no ending for love. Memory of him gets me by. Human pain is what I have. As from this earth he left, leaving me a heartache. Each hour hard to say goodbye. Through a clear glass, his symbol, a gemstone neck rope tie. All I saw was his tired and afraid face. My love for him will never die. I saved his number on my phone. For their soul, I continue to pray. Without him, my soul feels alone. No more discomfort, he's back home. Our conversation made me shine. Peace of my heart and love in each and every line. Daddy's Girl. Thank you. I didn't think it was going to be this hard.
It's okay, take your time.
This poem, I wrote how I see myself. Not just the brown eyes, my brown eyes, to the shape of my face. I'm connected to earth with the warmth of the sunrise, showered with God's love. God gave me this color. My heart holds his love with honor, my fair skin color natural. As my soul and mine is my will, it's powerful. As I follow the purple light, keeps me firm and fight. Believe in the impossible, feel the energy that's invisible, to the importance of belief, embracing the moment I live, my heart and soul to heal, his energy flow I always feel through my weary mind, to the caress of the wind as my heart slowly he mends, to shape of my soft lips as the fingertips of my hands, of how I feel others don't understand, only God and my spirit guides. At the end of the time alone I stand, the truth of my eyes never lie. As my flesh returns to the land, my soul here had it shaped. Writing is my way to escape from this unloved world, to feel the energy of others, to the way I stand out in a crowd. My emotions are clear like water, to speak my mind I'm not afraid. After all, I am a passionate writer. Let's keep it up high energy now. Language of soul. An intense and an intimate kiss is not sealed on my lips. A kiss on my forehead penetrates my fiery soul. Heart and mind understand, makes my soul whole. From the first time we met is a look I cannot forget. It was your high energy I kept close to me. Freely affection is given, caressing, walking emotions. Forgetting what's going on, being around me, your vibe. We belong to the same tribe. Spiritual frequencies can be addictive before it began. A touch that's hard to find, an affection that can't hide inside. Please forgive me if it's too strong. Never meant to make you feel wrong. It's these emotions I can't hold back. Hope that moment breaks the clock in my world that's plain black, with shades of brown, gray, off-white. Days with you are bright, not easy to find the right light. The language of the soul is that sincere embrace, invites my heart to a dance, embedding the intimate kiss, leaving undiscernible traces. Forgive me to say this, it's you and your smile I miss. That kiss sends tingling energy through my body. I'd rather write what I feel. A smile from me, you steal. In the language of the soul, shooting comments out of control. And language of whatever that was. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. I almost feel like we need a 10-minute break after that, but we're going to go on. So we have Anisha McDowell. Are you ready to do your poetry?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's bring her here. Let's give her a hand. We have Kleenex here, water. We have a stand. We have a lovely microphone, and you're a little tall. Oh, no, you're not short. Okay.
Oh, let me take these boots off.
All right. Okay. All right.
Hello, everyone.
Yay. Hello.
Okay, so I'm Anissa. I am, and Sarah invited me here. She works with me together. Active duty military, and I write poetry. I've been writing since forever. Always loved to talk and be in front of people. At first I was gonna do some new fancy stuff I had. I was mad at my husband. He had came home from deployment. But I recently received a promotion in the military. And I was so humbled because I was waiting for a different avenue. And I told myself that if I didn't get that promotion that way, that I wanted to just retire at my 20 years. But I felt guilty because the higher ranking I get, I look around the room and there is not a lot of me in the discussion. There's no voice for females, and then especially females of my color. So I kind of felt like, dang, I'm gonna let these sailors down if I'm not there when these people are making decisions about them, about hair. We go through so many struggles. We had a HM2 who got put out of the Navy because she had locks in her hair. And now we're allowed to wear those locks. We struggled with the females going to boot camp, and I helped write the point paper to stop cutting females' hair as you enter boot camp because it provided another. So as I thought about that, I went to an outing with the next rank of people who I would be surrounded when I get commissioned, because they actually have me doing the job. And I looked around, and once again, I was the only one of me there. We're off duty, but I have their spouses coming to me asking me, what is on your earring? What is that, a country? Is that Africa? Oh my God, your hair is so great. And so I just took a deep breath. I said, how am I going to do this? Because the higher ranking you get, I'm not going to be allowed to hang out with even Sarah, because she would be a lower ranking that's considered fraternization. So I'm going to have to hang out with these people. I called my mentor on the phone. I said, oh my goodness, I need some strength, because if these folks say one more thing to me, you know, Nisa from Baltimore, about to tell them what it is. But then I thought about it, and in 2014, I wrote a poem called This Little Black Girl in Navy Blue. And it was an homage to the people who came before me and gave me the opportunity to be where I am now. So I would just like to share that. She was born in a prison without ever having committed a crime. They say that a child of an incarcerated parent is 7 times more likely to end up in prison themselves. But she didn't. For she is this little black girl in Navy Blue. In an entire century of black history, culture, and life, who had the foresight, who knew, to lay a foundation for this little black girl in Navy Blue? I suppose it could have been Doris Miller when he manned an anti-aircraft gun for which he had no formal training. Perhaps he had a clue that he was sowing the seed for this little black girl in Navy Blue. She can describe the odor of heroin being cooked for use, the black residue it left on all the spoons in the house. She wanted to eat her cereal, but she never wanted to put those spoons in her mouth. At age 12, same spoons, her mother is now dead. So she ate her cereal with a fork instead. In an entire century of black history, culture, and life, who had the foresight, who knew, to lay a foundation for this little black girl in Navy Blue? Could it have been those guys who decided not to go back to loading ammunition, poorly trained in unsafe conditions? The Port Chicago 50, a handful of black sailors who were tried and convicted of mutiny. Oh, they did what they had to do to sow the seeds for this little black girl in Navy Blue. And she became a statistic, another teenage pregnancy, but not a teen mom. Because at 16, she now understood that not everyone has watched someone take their last breath on the sidewalk, or had another person's blood dry and crust over on her favorite shirt, her face, and shoulder. She made a decision that few did where she came from, to give that child a better opportunity through adoption. In an entire century of black history, culture, and life, who had the foresight, who knew, to lay a foundation for this little black girl in Navy Blue? It most certainly had to be Edna Young, the first black woman to enlist in the Navy and advance to Chief Petty Officer. Oh, I am certain that she knew that she sowed the seeds for this little black girl in Navy Blue. in an entire century of Black history, culture, and life. Who had the foresight? Who knew? This little Black girl in navy blue. She wakes up knowing that every second is an opportunity for success. This little Black girl in navy blue knows that my opportunity was provided by those who have gone before me. Who is this little Black girl in navy blue? I'm sure that's not the only question you want answered. This little Black girl in navy blue knows what hard work is. From nothing to something, in this Navy, my Navy, your Navy, our Navy, if there was a will, there is a way. Traveling state to state, country to country, not just a little Black girl in navy blue, but a United States Navy sailor. When I've seen others come and go, I rise. Grateful for my struggles and the road that I took, it only made me stronger. It prepared me for this, for the here and now. Focused and eager to learn, fast to teach. This is not a game. This is my life. Fairy tales don't exist where I come from. I'm a realist, and strong is just another statement to describe me. This little Black girl in navy blue. Thank you.
You know you can bring more next time. Okay, thank you. All right, we have Sandra Esqueda. Esqueda or Esqueda? Esqueda. I said it right. Yay! I wonder why I said it right. Come on up.
Thank you. Okay, I've always liked poetry, and in college I took several poetry classes and I really enjoyed it. And my cousin Maricela invited me tonight, and it's like, I can't miss this. I didn't realize that you had open mic, so I'm gonna get you. No. So I do have some poems that I wrote myself, but this is a poem I grew up reading to my daughter because I just really liked it. She's 19 now and in college, and so she loved when I read it, and when her friends would come over, I would read it to them. So I'm a little nervous. This is my first time being in front of you, but please, you know, you could for 5 minutes. Okay, they'll have to hear me. Okay, the poem is called "Phenomenal Woman," and it's by Maya Angelou, who I really studied a lot. And this is just poem that stuck to me. So, pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a model's fashion size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cute as you please, and to a man, the fallow stand or fall down on their knees. They themselves swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's in the fire of my arms and the flesh of my teeth, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my wrist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they themselves can't see. I say it's the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the right of my breast, and the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need of my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me.
good too. All right, we have Veronica Loya coming up. Come on, Veronica. We have tissue, we have water, we have a stand, we have a mic, and you can walk with the mic.
Well, thanks everybody. I just want to say it's been really beautiful to be here tonight, and you guys are all amazingly talented. It's like got me in every different emotion right now. I've never really written a poem, honestly. I mean, I'm kind of intimidated, but I have found one that one day I was at this weird little diner in Maricopa with some people from work. And this happened to be on like a penny pincher or something, like at the table, and I took a picture of it. Kind of always kept it with me, so I just wanted to share it. And hold on, now I can't find it. But the whole reasoning behind me wanting to even share this poem is that Maricela and I, she's one of my best friends, and we do a lot of environmental justice work together. I'm from Avenel. Maricela's from Kettleman City. You know, we see it daily. You know, we see the injustice. We've been around the racism, the discrimination, and it's a really hard battle, you know, and sometimes it's very hard to kind of keep going. And so recently I had experienced something that was very difficult, and we had a small town called in Huron. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with. Our group is trying to help them get a high school. So for many years, the students have been driving 22 miles and taking an hour and a half to get there. 1 in 3 graduate from school, you know, from high school. Crime rate is terrible, you know, and it's just, it's bad, you know. The right that children need to have their own identity, to be able to have their own school, I think is very important. For the first time, we took a group of parents to to a school board meeting to present the need for their own high school. We took them, and we were actually told some very mean things, and that's where all the racism that just hit us in the face, that you really thought, I mean, you know it's there, but they called us unprofessional. And so I tried to write a little something, and it was called 2 minutes. So it's really short, and if you guys don't mind, I'm not gonna do the other one about the one I got off the penny pincher. So this one is called 2 minutes. The clerk says, you have 2 minutes to speak. She reads and reads and reads and reads. They ask us to come up. It's my turn. I get up, I speak, and no one listens. My 2 minutes are up, I go sit down. The next day, everyone makes fun of us. Did we have our 2 minutes? Did we have our time to speak? No. Thanks, guys.
Another penetrating poem. All right, we have Tino Rayo from Visalia to come, and he has a lot of good stuff, also explosive poetry, so come on up, sir.
As much time as you want.
Evening, y'all. First, I want to encourage that you are art. You are poetry. When I first got introduced to slam poetry, Claudia and I went and visited in Visalia, and like I had some great like Shakespearean, you know, sonnet number 252, right, that doesn't exist, and I shared it, and tell you what, those teenagers kicked my butt. And it was like, it didn't rhyme, and I was trying to find the rhythm, and you had these kids just ranting, you know, dear depression, and they let their depression have it, and it gave me an understanding for, like, you know, I mean, my dad was 5150, I mean, he would sing to my mom, they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, ha-ha, hey, ho. He had her thinking she was crazy, and, you know, he was an addict, he, you know, beat her, me, I tried to stop him, that's a whole other story. But my point being, you know, like, I'm writing like, biggest compliment I've ever been given is people say, you know, wow, that was amazing. Was that a Tupac song? I said, no, thank you. I wrote that, right? And so go and do these, you know, rhythmic, lyrical, you know, poetry, and you got this kid up there, dear straight people, right? And it's like, whoa, just like help me understand the struggle of the LGBTQIAA community. And when I learned at a training that one of the A's is ally, I stopped referring to that group as they and now say we, because I'm an ally. And I couldn't claim to know a woman's trauma, a woman's struggle, but I'm your ally, okay? And so I had wrote a whole bunch of pieces on various arts to try to encourage my colleagues who would say, oh, well, I'm not a poet. I'm like, yes, you are. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Monkey King with Jackie Chan and Jet Li. And so there's this tall, skinny, lanky, clumsy kid, and he's prophesized to be the, like, savior of their people. And so Jackie Chan and Jet Li, two incredible masters, and they're playing tug of war with this kid, and finally he snaps at them because their styles are so different and they're giving him contradictory advice. And finally they ease up and they just kind of take turns teaching him. But Jackie Chan, he recites this poetry. He says, the butcher whose knife never touches bone, that's kung fu. The poet who paints pictures with his words, that's kung fu. So that's your art. That's your poetry, that's your song, that's your dance. Whatever that passion and love is inside of you, please just free yourself. Don't try and let go of that kid in us, the boy or girl who was bullied. You know, there we are singing, you got what I need, right? And your jerk friend, who sings that? You know, Bismarckio, keep it that way. You know, we've got to let go of those being made fun of, because our personality builds walls around the love that you really are, okay? So I want everybody to please stop saying, you know, I'm not a poet, I'm not a writer, I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer. Yes, you are. When you were a baby, you were and you did. Until, unfortunately, like I said, we got made fun of and we stopped. So just be art, okay? All right. So the first piece, which that could be its own piece, I want to do is called Go Home. Have any of you ever been told go home? You know, go back where you came from? So friends and I'm an activist, and it's Tino Rayos, R-A-Y-O-S. I'm an activist, look me up. I will back you. I will be at your side. I will take your front. For Black Lives Matter, I had the kids put on my shirt, get behind me. And I provided security for those kids because in Visalia, that's what they needed. You got these hateful men in raised up trucks, you know, with Trump flags and revving real hard and cursing and threatening the kids. And I went out there and provided security every moment I could. Yeah, I have a lot of Black Lives Matter poetry, but in that time, they needed someone to know that they were safe and they could protest peacefully, right? So we're doing Black Lives Matter, Gay Lives Matter, Native Lives Matter, right? And I'm doing a poem after whatever the latest mass shooting was. And my poem was against violence on the basis of hatred. And counter-protesters, as I was almost done with my poem, began to chant, go home, go home, go home. I don't think they meant my house. And so it took everything I had, like deep breath, not cuss, not yell, not lash out, and just finish my poem. So I finished my poem, I went home, couldn't sleep. And so I got up and I wrote. And the next day, I wrote some more. And so this is what came of it. go home. The group across the street couldn't know that my father's grandmother is French, Polish, Irish, Scottish. From across the street couldn't see my hazel eyes, go home. Couldn't know that my family from Pecos, Texas, have been there for as many generations, as far back as our family could remember, when it was still Mexico before the border crossed us. Go home. Couldn't know that my father's grandfather is Yaqui, Utu Azteca, and Inlak Ech Alakin means you are my other me and I am your other you. If I do harm to you, I hurt myself. If I love and respect you, I love and respect myself. Go home. That my great-grandmother, my mother's mother, is Apache. The first Americans before Turtle Island was called America. Go home. America is letting in 100,000 Ukrainians, immigrants fleeing, refugees fleeing war and terrorism. Welcome. And yet, forget about our own 500,000 who came for freedom and the American dream and are met with private prisons, family separations, kids in cages. Go home. At the protest, I saw a sign that said, "No human is illegal." I want to see a sign that says, "Welcome home." Right, so you may have heard last year in the spring, they found 215 bodies of babies and children in a mass grave outside of a residential school in Canada. And that count is up to 10,000. And it hurts my heart to think that if they really, really look, they'd find millions. But the thing is, bodies outside of a coffin are only going to last 3 to 20 years. So most of the bodies, Mother Earth has reclaimed them. Not going to find those bodies. But I did a song called "Every Child Matters" for that movement. $10,015 bodies of children were found outside of a residential prison, buried inside of mass graves. These schools were designed to assimilate the natives. Children were forcibly taken right from the arms of our families by law and placed in these border schools. Imagine police coming into your homes and kidnapping your children right in front of you. Parents who try to stop them were beaten and killed. We have a painful history with so much blood spilled. Students were beaten into submission, no longer allowed to wear our custom clothing, cut off our long hair and sense of identity. We can no longer sing our native songs like hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. No more banging on rhythmic drums. Tore out the heartbeat of our nation. Forbid the ceremonial dances. Banned us from speaking our native languages. I wish that all lives mattered. So many abuses, so many lives shattered. We remember the children and give them a moment of silence. We honor the people of the First Nation and pray for the children who never made it home. Over 500 years, our culture was erased, systematically replaced. Around the world, there were thousands of these schools with widespread abuse for breaking the rules. Cultural genocide wiped out our minds. We were denied our culture and way of life. Alone and scared, so many children cried. How large number of us died. Sick with grief, this was heavy on our hearts. When will they stop tearing families apart? The damage has been done, wounded the millions. Outlaw the schools, what to do with the children? The schools have been replaced by the foster care system. This is still happening in forced immigration. We have families, give back to children. We honor the people of the First Nation and pray for the children who never made it home. Every child matters, every child matters, every child matters, every child matters. Thank you. So I'll leave you all on a lighter note. Welcome. Recently, we had a writing prompt, a trigger called insulin. And I told the story many times, and control, search, control, find, right? I'm like, you mean I've never written this story? Right? So I'm like, okay, let's write it. Because I told it many times. So, father, addicted, alcohol, heroin, abusive, right? Beat mother, me. I remember getting up as a kid and a few good memories that go to have some sweetened cereal and you know, he grabs, he says, get me a bowl, right? And there's this cloud of smoke and his friends are playing cards and his friends, you know, says, you want some beer in that? Like, ew, right? And my dad socked him in the arm. My dad worked at oil rigs. You turn them 50, 60-pound wrenches all day, I mean, he was a beast. Nobody ever hit me like he did. Like I was taking MMA because none of these guys could ever hit me like he did. Like it would excite me, right? And so he kicked his friends out and we were eating the cereal and he turned on the cartoons. He liked Looney Tunes and wrestling and football, right? And so later my mom, she brought out, she was gonna make punch. And so he goes and he pours himself a glass out the gallon and he takes a drink and he's like, he always complained it was never sweet enough. He says, this is good. And I'm like, my mom says, Tiny, that's syrup, let me put water on it. So the poem is called Insulin. And so, you know, fast forward, you know, God bless my mom, who always defended my uncle. There was conspiracy or murder. His friends did it. My dad, he says, we killed 2 people, right? So I'll put, you know, but to go from, you know, that to Huntsville prison, was served 7 to life, served 18 years, and go from Texas Syndicate, which that's like Mexican familia and nuestra familia Mexican mafia, right? But in Texas, he was a collector and enforcer. So, I mean, brutal, violent man, right? But he did his time. He taught men how to read. He taught Bible study, 12-step programs, and husbandry, equestrianism, teaching men how to work with horses so they can get out and have a job, right? So he finally got out, and I was angry at him forever. I wanted to kill him, and I finally made peace with God and myself, and then with him, I reached out, and family's excited, so I made my trip to Texas, and I was like, why do they call him Tiny, right? Because I mean, I always looked up to this big man, right? Well, I was 10. So that as a man, right? And he's like about this tall. I'm like, oh, that's why they call him Tiny, right? So, you know, we have Texas barbecue and my, you know, I mean, natives we observe, anyway, I had to learn to put on a filter, but my boy, he's autistic, so he's just honest, right? So, you know, one look, one smell, one taste of brisket. Why is the Californians don't know more about brisket? I'm very upset how late I found it in my life, and he's like, yeah, Texas barbecue is better than California. I said, son, you better not tell our uncles in California you're gonna get us banned, right? So we ate, and you know, Dallas football game is on, and there was this woman who was a nurse, is my uncle's wife, and she used to take care of my dad. He's type 2 insulin dependent diabetic, and he was staring at the cake, right? And she was sitting across the table. She was, Tiny, don't you do it, right? And he's just kind of, looking at that cake like a birthday boy, right? And so she starts to get up because she knows what's about to happen. And she couldn't get around the table fast enough. I mean, and he just took a corner piece and he shoved it in his mouth. And she's running around just like, no. So by the time she got to him, he's like stuffing it in his mouth. His mouth looks like piano keys. So with his missing teeth, every other, missing is black and white, painted with candle wax and black and white frosting. I hadn't seen him so happy since, I could remember as a kid. But, I got to make peace with him. And the last chapter of that story, since I did begin it with the trauma, I'll end with the healing. And he says, the next day, I went and just took him away from everybody because, wonderful to see everybody, stories catch up, a lot of family, busy talk, right? But I just wanted to talk to him, right? Because I wanted to see him before he died, have my sons meet him, and give him the opportunity for amends. So I knew I could do 2.5 of those. See him and introduce him to my sons. Given the opportunity, the rest would be up to him, right? So we went off on our own and he says, Mijo, means my son. I was a mess for a long time. Because it wasn't that I didn't want you guys. I couldn't take care of myself. I thought you guys were better off without me. All of that for me is its own story, but this is him talking, right? He says, I missed you guys. I loved you. Still in love with your mom. I'm sorry. Be a better man. Be better than I was. Be a better dad. Be a better husband, right? Thank you for coming. Please forgive me. And, just love your family. I had this love for you, just tell them, show them in all of its forms. Right? Love you. Thank you guys for listening.
Do we have anyone else who would like to read their poetry? Anybody? Okay, we can do this again in a couple months. So keep in touch with us. We have a website, HanfordMTC.com. Go ahead. And you can also leave your name and number. You can email us, you can call us, and we'll get in touch with you. We do a lot of different things here, and if you got a great idea for something, we're all for it. We believe in creativity. We believe there's a poet, there's an artist, there's an actor, there's a novelist, a screenwriter. We believe, you can do anything here. Our latest offering is I'm going to teach people how to do paper clay puppets. We're going to do puppets. We want to do puppet shows for kids here. And in the past, we do plays, original plays. This is our first poetry night. We also do improv. So if you want to learn improv, we'll teach you how to do it. So all of us have the opportunity here at this theater company to learn something new and have fun. So go on our website, and if you have something that you want to share, we'd be very happy to work with you on it. So thank you very much. Thank you for supporting this beautiful building. We appreciate all that you contributed, and we'll see you soon. All right, thank you everybody. Thank you for coming.